going to just read down. We're in Revelation, the 12th chapter. We're going to read the first 9 verses. A great sign appeared in heaven. A woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. And she was with child, and she cried out, being in labor and in pain to give birth. Then another sign appeared in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his heads were 7 diadems. And his tail swept away 1/3 of the stars of heaven and threw them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, so that when she gave birth he might devour her child. And she gave birth to a son, a male child, who is to rule all the nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up to God and to his throne. Then the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared by God, so that there she would be nourished for 1,260 days. And there was war in heaven, Michael and his angels waging war with the dragon. The dragon and his angels waged war, and they were not strong enough, and there was no longer a place found for them in heaven. And the great dragon was thrown down, the serpent of old, who is called the devil and Satan, who deceives the whole world. And he was thrown down to the earth, and his angels were thrown down with him. So we're introduced here in the first half of this chapter to four beings, 4 characters in the drama. The first character is the woman, clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. Who's the woman? There are varying opinions, but there's only one right one. And I'm going to tell you that one right now. If we were to turn to Genesis 37th chapter and the 9th verse, we read, this is about Joseph. And remember, he had dreams that I think he was unwise enough to tell his brothers, and it made them jealous. But here's his dream. Then he had another dream, and he told it to his brothers. Listen, he said, I had another dream. And this time the sun and moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me. When he told his father, as well as his brothers, his father rebuked him and said, what is this dream you had? Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow down to the ground before you? His brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the matter in mind. When Joseph had a dream about the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars, Joseph being the 12th star, his papa, Judah, Israel, whom God renamed Israel, had no problem understanding who he was talking about. This is a picture of Israel, the nation of Israel. Why do we have problems seeing it? It goes on to talk about Christ coming out of Israel eventually down the road. And so why do we have problems identifying this great sign as Israel? The reason why some folks have a problem identifying this as Israel is that we're obviously talking about end times here. And a great deal of Christianity, a great deal of our mainline denominations have doctrines that there is no Israel at the end. It's not important. It's a non-issue whether Israel is present at the end times or not. And I've talked to guys that just said Israel is gone. The church has received all the promises of Israel because Israel rejected the church. Well, here's the truth. We people are weak. And if we go to this word believing that there is no Israel at the end times, then we will read verses like this and we will find other ways to interpret them because it interferes with our tradition, what we have decided. That whole business of God setting aside Israel because of a failing, it flies against all kinds of scripture. God says that Israel will never cease to be a nation before them as long as the sun shines, as long as the moon comes up. And so how we can come along and say, well, they failed and they are no longer the heirs of the promises, the church is. If that is true, then no one in this room or any place in this planet has a right to believe that God will stick by his word to them. If he can set aside his word, his promises, his guarantees to Israel, he can set aside his word, his promises to us. Salvation by grace? Oh, great. I hope he doesn't change his mind before I get there. This is Israel. And if it's inconveniently located in an end times passage, so be it. We need to change our thinking, not to change this. It's dangerous. And by the way, I believe wholeheartedly, and the man that I was talking to, who was a pastor, is a good man. He's going to be in heaven, and he's going to understand. I was right. Good? We're just people. We're not all that. We come up with notions, and we carry them to Scripture, and we somehow feel okay about changing what the Scriptures obviously mean.
Thank you for watching. Foundation TV is a ministry of Foundation Bible Church, Janesville, Wisconsin. Find us online at foundationbiblechurch.com.
Foundation Bible Church, inconveniently located 2 blocks northwest of the Janesville Athletic Club.